We all love aquariums, right? It's one of those things that you and your family or friends plan to do when you go on a vacation or a weekend trip. It's a big thing. Depending on who you are, the plaques explaining details of ecology or biology may or may not be of interest, but the fish always are. Or the crabs, or the plants, or even the algae for some people, or the hundreds of other creatures that are found in the ocean. There's something amazing, in and of itself, about seeing the wide variety of life that exists underwater. Think of all the creatures somebody can find in a single aquarium, probably less than a square mile in area. Now imagine that aquarium, but covering 68,000 square miles. That's the Sea of Cortez. 5,000 species of macroinvertebrates, 891 species of fish, 39% of all species of marine mammal, and many, many others. Lots of these species can't be eaten, but a lot of them can. In relatively recent years, the area in and around the sea has developed an extensive fishing industry. In 2021, it was estimated that around 75% of Mexico's fishing industry is in the Sea of Cortez alone. Annually, around 260 million US doubloons comes from harvesting shrimp alone. The industry, being as large and extensive as it is, has continued to have many consequences on the health of the sea, both through destruction of habitat and overharvesting. Put a pin in that. We still need to introduce the star of the video. Can you guess who it is? The diversity of the Sea of Cortez extends to our many-teethed friends. Around 62 species can be found here, with who exactly is in the timeshare varying throughout the year. Bull, silky, blue, scalloped and smooth hammerheads, whale, great white, shortfin, mako, cabo, tiger, lemon, blacktip, and thresher being only some of the most recognizable that can be found. Many use the more sheltered areas in the sea and around Baja California in general as nursing areas. Though they may seem scary, they're relatively harmless to humans. You're more likely to get killed by a cow. In all reality, we are more of a threat to sharks. See, we sometimes eat sharks ourselves. Though people do eat other parts of the shark than the fins are the most desirable for mainly one reason: shark fin soup. Shark fin soup is a relatively popular but pricey dish in areas of China, Hong Kong, and surrounding regions. The dish has connections to power and prestige as a dish that could originally only be afforded by royalty in ancient times, both for its high-end ingredients and extensive cooking process. So of course, when the wealth of the average person in China increased in the 1980s to the point where one could afford shark fin soup, the demand for shark fins came with it. Being in an area with extensive fishing industry already and plenty of sharks, the Sea of Cortez and the waters around Baja California became the place to make a profit. Get your hands on as many fins as possible, dry them out so they can be shipped to Guangzhou, collect money. It was so profitable that in 2025, 4.6% of the global shark catch came from just the Sea of Cortez. 4.6% from this tiny sea. Sadly, this single-minded drive for profit has caused many issues wherever sharks could be fished, with the most obviously cruel and destructive consequence being flapping. Flapping, or shark finning, is the practice of capturing a shark, cutting off the fins while it's still alive, and throwing the finless body back out into the ocean. Not nice, and the name is kind of ironic. In the fisherman's perspective, this saves space on the ship while allowing more valuable fins to be stored instead of having, in comparison, worthless carcasses taking up space. Why take each entire shark when taking around 5% of each gives them the best volume to profit ratio? In the perspective of anyone who cares even slightly about animal cruelty, this is horrific. When the shark is thrown back into the ocean, it has no ability to move, and slowly, painfully bleeds out, suffocates, or is consumed by other fish. Again, yikes. Additional to the cruelty, Flapping makes shark populations hard for countries to track, and regulations around shark fishing hard to enforce. Since it can be hard to identify which fins belong to what type of shark, there are gaps in population sizes and statistics for different species, who may have much smaller populations than widely believed from inaccurate reporting. Having detached fins also makes it hard to enforce any restrictions like, say, the ban on fishing great whites, basking in whale sharks in Mexico. It's hard to enforce bans for the same reason that detached fins are harder to identify. You can't tell if the shark is illegal easily. And understanding and preserving shark populations is something people should care about beyond a commodity. Sharks as a whole have relatively slow maturing rates and have small litters of offspring, so major decreases in population are hard for sharks to recover from. And for sharks, it doesn't take much killing to devastate population size. Also, because they're an apex predator, their decline has a massive cascading effect, causing devastating changes to ecosystems that rely on sharks for population limitation through predation. Try saying that 5 times fast. There have been some regulations around sharks put in by the Mexican government that helps protect some of the sharks in the Sea of Cortez. Stuff like banning catching of sharks by nets for industrial fishing boats and having no fishing zones in some nursing areas. The biggest was NOM 029, which supposedly prohibited the exclusive use of fins of any shark, but pretty much everyone who is paying attention knows everything so far is not enough. Organizations like the Center for Biological Diversity are pushing to improve the laws. While NOM 029 supposedly requires the body of the shark the fins come from to be on board when the ship arrives at port, it's common for there to be suspiciously more fins than bodies. To remedy this supposed increase in mutant sharks, the Center for Biological Diversity proposed that Mexico rethink the previously proposed idea of requiring fins to remain naturally attached to sharks who are fished. The idea is, if fins are required to stay attached, it's much easier to identify extra fins. This mostly reduces shark consumption on the industrial scale, but it seems like a much different method is effective for your smaller fishermen. Circling back to the beauty of the Sea of Cortez, there are many people who want to come and visit the aquarium. Tourism has grown to be absolutely massive, basically becoming the second pillar of the economy around there, and has brought about a new opportunity for those one-off or small group local fishermen to transition from what can be quite a dangerous, exhausting, and low-paying job of catching sharks to just dealing with sunscreen-slathered outsiders who want to get on a boat with someone who knows where to spot the silky sharks. There's even a non-profit organization started by close relatives of Mario Gomez, a big environmentalist in Mexico, to provide guidance and support to get fishermen into giving boat tours. Funding the new building of boats, being the infrastructure for booking guests, and helping captains adjust to the new kind of boating through mentorship and training. It'll be interesting to see the effectiveness of this program in the future, and hopefully, a combination of getting people out of the fishing industry and better regulations will help to better protect all the good big boys and girls out in the Sea of Cortez.